Hi everybody, I'm Laurie Cadden, and we are here at the beautiful TCMC building where we are taping our 8th, believe it or not, our 8th segment of Lackawanna County Medical Society's Public Health Education Series. It is sponsored in part by a grant from Commonwealth Health, and today we're talking a lot of it, I guess, girls, ladies, about changes, being more in tune with your body, making some good healthy changes to have as we say, a new lease on your health and the way you feel about yourself, possibly the way you look, all those things that go along with sometimes making resolutions. Just in general, let's pack it all in. We're going to talk a little bit about how we do this and your tips on how we can be successful, because after all, people out there making resolutions, we say about 45% of people make New Year's resolutions, and the magic number of those who keep it is 8%. So that's a big difference between those who make it and those who don't. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what you can do if you're interested in making any change to yourself. These ladies will be able to tell you a little bit about it. So we have a nutritionist and health educator, Lisa Regau, who's with me here to my right, and to my far right is Dr. Lori Williams, who is who practices internal medicine, and both of them have information about you, not about you personally, but about how you can hopefully glean something from this wonderful education series that we do. Again, this is the 8th one, ladies, so you're in good company with many people before you. So let's talk about these resolutions, or just say it's not even a resolution. Just say someone wakes up one morning and says, I really think today's the day, you know, that light bulb moment, and they say, I'm going to make a change. Why is it always to lose weight? Because there are thin people who say, I have to lose weight. Why is that always a factor, do you think? Either one can answer. Jump in.
Well, I think body image for most, if you're speaking in general, by statistic, it's women who have this issue with body image. And actually, 99% of women have issues with body image. And so weight becomes one of the ideas to make a change. Unfortunately, you know, as you're looking at what body image can do for mental health and physical health, it can be a burden to some people, and kind of stepping away from the idea of change in weight and body image and more to just make a change for health would be a more, I think, a more appropriate way to get healthy, both mind, body, and spirit. Because
what that does is take away from that you're not as perfect or you're not what you should be by saying just to be a healthier version of who you are, instead of let's get rid of something to make us better.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, doctor, when it comes to weight loss, well, we'll just use that because that's one of the topics. Of course, physical health, number one, lose weight. Obviously, there's major, what's the word I'm looking for? Reasons for this. Your body is in better, functions better, just less body weight is better for anybody, your bones, your joints as you get older. But what is the real, if someone had said to you, I want to do this, and say there's someone who doesn't necessarily need to lose weight, or they're just saying it because it's something to say. What would you say to people who come to you and say, this is what I want to do?
Well, being overweight certainly does have its detriments to your health. Losing weight is going to help lower your blood pressure. It's going to help lower your cholesterol. It's going to be better for your joints, for your joint health. It's going to help you live longer. Being overweight can actually promote cancer, certain cancers. So it's actually better for your health to be at an ideal body weight. So we do encourage people to try to maintain an ideal body weight.
And if someone gets in that, as Lisa was saying, is it better to focus on things that make you a healthier person, and then that in turn will help you lose weight?
Exactly.
Because so many people, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm doing that. So many people think, as we said earlier, that that's what happens. You have to do this to do that. So it means you have to stop doing something instead of realizing that maybe it's a change you could make that doesn't need to be so drastic. Right? Is that a better way to look at it than just, because that's so hard. That's why so many people don't fulfill their obligation, I guess, or their resolution, because they quit. They say, I can't, it's too hard, I can't do it.
Right, and you know, maybe you can just make some small changes in your life then, rather than make a huge change to lose weight. Maybe just say, you know what, I'm going to try to eat more vegetables today. Maybe I'll just have a piece of fruit with lunch every day, or I'll try to have a salad with dinner. Just maybe make small changes in your life. Maybe a goal could be, I'll drink less soda. You know, and just by making small changes in your life rather than a big, huge diet. You know, just by cutting out soda in your life, you can lose 10, 15 pounds a year.
Well,
you know, just with small changes.
And that's the thing, because if you don't look at it just right, like in we all want immediate gratification, right? So if we look at it from the long term, like a year out, okay, if you stop doing these things, and soda is one of those big things. If you drink regular soda, the sugar in that is a lot compared to not drinking it or having something else. I know they say you shouldn't drink diet soda necessarily either, because do you agree with that, or is it a way just to substitute that's at least better than the regular?
You know, there are different theories on that. I mean, some people think that the artificial sweeteners in the diet soda make your brain crave more sugar. So whether you want to believe that or not, you know, it is up for debate, I think. That being said, I think if you want to have a diet soda, 1 or 2 a day, I don't think is harmful. But again, there are studies that show that people who drink diet soda actually weigh more than people who don't. But I think some people who have a diet soda also have a candy bar with it because they feel that maybe they're entitled that they could have, you know, something. So, you know, again, it's moderation. I don't think, you know, 1 diet soda or 2 a day is harmful necessarily.
But that's a way to at least substitute the sugary type for something else. If you need the carbonation or whatever, the caffeine, it's another way to do it.
There are some other theories too that say that carbonation actually can stretch your stomach and trigger you to crave more food. So we really would encourage you to have maybe a water. Instead of a carbonated drink, ideally.
Okay, so how about enjoying life and living it to the fullest? What would you guys say are ways that people could change? Some, like we're saying, let's not look at something like so drastic. What's a little change that you would recommend that somebody can do to live their life a little bit more full?
Well, I think that as Dr. Williams was saying, you know, baby steps are so important, and you brought that up as well. And without making drastic changes, I think one of the best ways to look to living your life to the fullest really is finding out something that you're passionate about, something that you enjoy, that you love. Because if you don't love it, you're not going to continue to do it on a regular basis. It takes about 21 days regularly to create a habit, whether that's positive or negative. But if it's a positive habit that you're trying to create, the idea is to find something that you truly are interested in and that you love. Especially if you have family or friends around and they're already involved in something. If you're alone looking for things that aid other human beings, like service work, charity work, those types of things actually get people outside of their home, get them interested in doing something for others, and actually maintain that positive, healthy habit.
Instead of always being, again, all of these shows kind of relate back to ones we've done and we've talked about this, but just all about you as you put your focus on somebody else. It makes you maybe feel better because you feel like you're giving something to somebody. What does that do, Dr. Williams, to someone who starts, if you've seen this happen, like Lisa's saying, you change a habit, like you're home more and now you're going out. Have you ever noted or seen someone who has improved from a health standpoint because now they're doing something like this opposed to not doing it?
Oh, absolutely. I've had patients who have really stuck with the diet plan, and they've actually gotten off insulin, gotten off blood pressure medicines. So, I mean, it's absolutely attainable. These things can be done if you really can stick with it.
And then what about then the old, you know, the exercise part, staying physically fit? Of course we know that that works, but what if we're going to talk about things that are in, let's use the term baby steps, what are ways that someone could say, hey, this is something I could do. I may not be able to run a marathon tomorrow, but here's what I could do. Again, what are ways that we can start with that?
Well, interestingly, as you're combining everything that we're talking about, baby steps are really, really helpful in the idea that if you're able to get up and walk, walking is one of the best ways to start to move, to exercise. We all are able to walk. And backtracking, to stick to something, you have to have a plan. And to create a plan that's realistic, that it's attainable, that's very specific, that actually has resources, so friends and family. There's areas around here, we have the trail that you can go walk on. There's groups that are walking. You know, exercise in itself just can be seen as movement. If we start using the term exercise, for some people, they hear that, or workout, and they just are completely not interested.
Right.
But if you say you're going to get out and move, there's so many ways to move. and exercise like walking or then therefore running, the cardiovascular health of walking, running, swimming, biking, or strength training, which is utilizing weights or body weight. Also to flexibility movement, which is yoga, qigong, tai chi, things like that. Dance, for example. All those things that people are interested in, that they'll continue to do on a regular daily basis or weekly basis, or just let's check it out, see if I like it, see if I'll stick with it.
I think, personally, I love to spin or power cycle. So I think people would, a lot of times I'll say that's where I'm going to a spinning class, and I'll say, oh my God. To me, I mean, anyways, they say you never forget how to ride a bike. But the beauty of it is it's a stationary bike. So even if you, and I used to, when I would sit next to someone and they would say, it's my first time, and I remember my first time, I thought, oh God, I felt the same way. I'm never going to do that. 45 minutes to an hour of straight this, up, down. And I said, just pedal. Pedal for the first, don't stop, just even if you don't move, pedal. That is half the battle. Show up, start pedaling, and then little by little you change it. And it's a great workout because you don't have to, you're attached, the bike is there. And if you have a slow day and you can't, you just do it, you go at your own pace. And it's a neat way to get some good cardiovascular exercise as well as a little bit of strength training, because you do that when you tighten the resistance. So those are I think things that, even if it is, say, hey, just get on that bike and pedal. It's a stationary bike. You're not, just hold on, you won't fall off. So those are things to do. I think that people need to find something they like, because as we say, if you find something you like to do, then it'll be easier to stick to it.
Absolutely.
And there are so many things, like I don't know about you guys, but all these running groups that they have, and there are people, and I always like either beat my horn or I'll just smile to myself, because I think they're the end of the pack. They're going slow, right? But they're doing it, and I think running is like not something I ever even would think about. But the fact that they do it and they're doing it and they're running up a hill, I'm like, you guys go for it. It's so much those groups, and then you build the camaraderie, and you say your buddy system, because I'm sure that's probably on one of your lists. You do it because you have someone to go with.
Absolutely.
And you just start walking. It doesn't cost any money. You don't have to join a gym. Put on a pair of shoes, open your front door, and just start walking. And you don't have to do it all at once. You can do 5 minutes in the morning, do 5 minutes at lunch, do 5 minutes in the evening. It all adds up. You don't have to donate an hour of your day all at once to do it. It'll all add up. Just keep moving.
And that's important, because I think people think, oh God, I have to block out this. How am I going to do it? If you're running home from work and you're trying to get a dinner ready for your children or your husband or whatever, or your boyfriend, whoever it is, you're saying, how am I going to do it? It puts so much stress, and then you think, but then I'm just not going to do it. That's what happens. So is it true? But truly, a little bit is better than nothing at all, right?
And making a habit of taking the steps instead of the elevator whenever you can. When you go to work, park your car at the farthest parking spot and walk farther to work. Every little step, make it a habit to do that.
Exactly.
I also think that those Fitbit bracelets, or do you have them? I think it's so good, because I have one. This is typical, so good for this resolution. I got one last January because I wanted to track my steps. Do you know, because I'm a terrible computer person, a friend of mine started to help me do it, and I never did. So I literally don't have it even plugged in to do it, and mine is exactly what you have. And I think that's what that was this year. I have to have my son, who was home on vacation. You think I asked him to do it? No. But it is so good, because that's just a little step, because you can see, even if you exercise nothing at all, you can see how many steps you've taken. And what's the magic number? 10,000?
10,000 steps a day is the magic number.
Yeah.
And it is fun to challenge yourself.
Exactly.
And with this device, you can actually look and see what your friends are doing, and it makes it a little competition to say, oh, my friend did this many steps. Exactly.
I didn't know
so
that.
you kind of get in a little competition, and you could cheer each other on. So it really helps to have a buddy and get in
Oh,
a
I didn't even realize that, but that's
competition.
neat because
Support's important.
it is
Yeah,
important,
support's so
absolutely,
important.
because you feel like you have someone you can throw it off, you know, oh, I didn't do this, or I want to go. Can you, it makes it so much better when you have that person. But that Fitbit, when you're walking, doesn't it, if you're halfway through the day or you think, oh my God, oh wow, I did that, oh, maybe I'll take the steps.
Exactly,
It'll
and
force
those-
you to do something
It gives
differently,
yourself
don't you
a little
think?
encouragement. And a lot of our phones already have pedometers on them. So
Right.
if you're carrying your phone with you, you don't even have to invest in a Fitbit.
Right.
And really, you can buy an inexpensive pedometer for $3 or $4 and wear
And
it on
just-
your waistband.
But I think they're neat. So that, I guess I better get it. Tell me before I leave, say, Laurie, you must get yours hooked
And we
up.
can be friends, and I'll
so
cheer
that-
you on
and
every
you can
day.
tell me, I
There you
love it.
go.
Well, make sure I'm going to do it. Now, here's another big one, and I know that, and we've talked about this in other shows, and this is, I don't smoke, I never have. Well, I mean, I may have had one or two, maybe one a week, but as they said, and inhale. But I never smoked. So to do that, to quit, they say it's the physical addiction is so awful. It's so I never want to minimize just do it because I'm sure it's horrible. But the risk, the benefits are so much greater. Just to stop. When I see people smoking, they're young. I think, what are you doing? Stop it. So how do people get through this? This is a tough one.
That is a tough one. People have to be ready. You know, you don't even want to have that conversation with somebody unless they're really ready, because you're just wasting their time. So if they give you an idea that they're ready, the next step is to pick a quit date. And the quit date doesn't have to be today or tomorrow. It could be on their anniversary or their birthday. It could be the 4th of July. You know, they don't have to be pressured into it. And then, like Lisa said, plan for it. You know, tell your friends you're going to quit so you'll have that emotional support. And think of ways to, you know, keep yourself busy when you want a cigarette. You know, usually after breakfast, people go right for a cigarette. Well, think of other things you're going to do. You know, read the paper, go for a walk, look at your phone, look at your grandchildren on your phone. That might be your motivation to not quit. Look for nicotine replacement. You might want to try the gum or the lozenges or a patch. Talk to your physician by all means about a nicotine replacement. So many people say, oh, it's going to cost me too much money for a nicotine patch, but your insurance pays for it.
But
and
look what the difference in smoking. I
Absolutely.
mean,
The cost of
what is a
cigarettes is-
cigarette? A pack of cigarettes now? I don't even know.
you know, anywhere from $5 to $8 for a pack
Yeah,
of
so what,
cigarettes.
and look what you're getting. Your lungs are going to clear up, and it's so much better for you.
Absolutely.
Do most people recommend, most physicians recommend a nicotine replacement, and do people stay away from it because they just feel, look, I want it completely out of my system, I want to do a cold turkey?
We usually do recommend it because it's a physical addiction, it's a chemical addiction, it's a psychological addiction, so it really is a very hard addiction to break. So if you at least replace the nicotine, you're replacing at least part of that addiction. And then you have to worry about the psychological, you know, and addiction part of it. So we usually do recommend the patch or the gum for people.
Okay. And so, Lisa, from your experience with smoking, what have you seen from a non-clinical standpoint?
Well, actually, I'm also a nurse as well. So,
Okay.
so the health benefit, obviously, as Dr. Williams was just saying, is just incredibly important. And in reality, it's one of those activities that we choose to do. Unfortunately, it is addictive, and it's the most addictive substance, nicotine. But I think that in working with some students, I work with students here in the community, recognizing the benefits, the health benefits of not smoking, because it's, again, it increases your risk of cancers, it increases your risk of heart disease, and so trying to make that apparent, and also the cost of smoking is so incredibly high, and so using nicotine replacement actually is something that we talk about quite often. With the supervision of a physician, but it is a better way to kind of move them toward health promotion.
And the money really is a good motivator. If you really talk to people, some people
If
are
you
spending
balance it out.
$3,000-$4,000 a year on cigarettes. So when you tell them how much money they can save, you can go to Hawaii with the money that you could
that's
save.
true.
So that's a good motivator, and that always makes people a little excited about quitting.
Well, I think, again, if we're looking at it not short term, if you look at it and say, hey, over the year, here's how much you're going to save, here's how much you spend, what could you do with this money instead of putting it into
And put a positive
cigarettes?
spin on it. Instead
Yeah,
of,
exactly.
Right,
And
instead
the
of
other,
focusing on always, oh, you're going to get cancer, you're going to have a heart.
Right.
Try to put a positive
right,
spin on it.
it makes it look a little bit better. And also, the control that nicotine has over one's life, because talking too about the resolutions when people want to spend more time with their family. I don't know if you guys, I mean, I have some friends who smoke, and the control that the cigarette has over them, where they're in the middle of a conversation, and they have to get up to have a cigarette to come back. You've stopped the conversation. The control is now with the nicotine, and you feel like you're left out because it happened. So I think that resolution of wanting to spend more time or give people more of your attention, be in the moment. That's another reason to look at ways to get away from it, because so much of it is you're controlled by the substance. So I think those are all, and of course that your mental health in being in a relationship and spending that kind of time is so important. As you know, doctor, this is, it's all about what the mind says, I think. I mean, you've got to me, I think that people who want to make those changes of being more present, being more available to their family, that's just going to make you feel better all the way around. Do you see changes like that in people, Lisa, people who say, I am too busy, I'm doing this, and it's our favorite line, I can't do it, I'm too busy. Right. We're all busy, everybody
Absolutely.
is, but to make that little bit of time, you got to see significant difference when someone says, I'm going to do it and sticks to it.
Oh, absolutely. I think that there's something that's very empowering when you start to make some change, and then you see some actual positive changes that come about, especially if you're talking about friends or family or loved ones that you're trying to spend more time with. That goes back to baby steps again. I'll just keep saying that over and over, because really planning and being realistic about a change in plan, and once you start to see that there's some positive results, it makes it so wonderful emotionally and physically. And if you're talking about exercise, if you're taking the dog for a walk, for example, and the whole family goes for a walk, now you're spending time moving, you're moving together,
Right.
You're sharing the time with one another. So that's an emotional and spiritual growth and health for that particular person. And there's so many different ways. That's just one example. I mean, that's an easy example because the dog has to go out. So easy way to get out.
Do
and
it all
start
with everybody.
with everybody.
But it is about the mind, body, and spirit. We're saying that they all work together to make you a healthier person. So what about, we've had our friend Phil talking about mindfulness and being in the moment, and the way you eat, and how we should make sure we pay attention to what we're doing. And did you ever, and I loved what he said. He said, think about when you're eating an egg, like the chicken who laid the egg and where it came from, and the farmer, and how we got there, and all of those things to get it to your plate is almost a little like, wow. But when you think about it, it's amazing how all of these things come together to be part of what you're now enjoying, whatever it is. It's just so neat to think to be present. I think that these things are so important to us to pay attention, to be again in the moment. And also, I think when it comes to stress and getting enough sleep and all of these things, that when you're tired, go to sleep. I have to do this. It makes so much. You sleep better when you're tired. So what do you guys feel about sleep and people who I think sleep deprivation is horrible. I mean, I don't have any issues sleeping, so people who say, oh man, I can't fall asleep, or I have insomnia or whatever, I don't even know what that means. But when I was younger and had my children, oh my God, you're like, oh God, I need sleep, and that feeling is horrible. Your whole body feels terrible with it. So you guys know that sleep is so important.
It's the underpinning, I think, for health. I think that's the one area that people really don't spend enough time talking about or spending enough time thinking about and actively doing. I think part of the problem, if you're looking at generationally, a screen of any type, so if you're talking about your phone, your computer, or the TV screen, it inhibits the ability to actively fall asleep. There's a lot of research about how many hours people should get to sleep, and between the ages of about 18 and 65, there's a minimum of about 6 hours that we need for healthful sleep, and a maximum of about 9 hours. Anywhere in between there, and we're all individuals, and so dependent upon what our body actively needs, that would be the amount of sleep. So there's not one specific. However, if you don't sleep well, the decisions that you make throughout the day really are poor, and they drop off drastically. So that means any type of exercise goal that you may have set, any type of eating that you're trying to create, the less sleep you have, the less clarity you have. You can't stay in the moment, you're more reactionary. So every part of your being takes a hit if you don't sleep well.
Do you believe that when people say, oh, I only require 4 hours of sleep, or I think when people say that, I say BS, like, come on, how could anybody survive on that? And yet they seem okay, but I just can't believe that somebody physically, as a normal, they're not a doctor working swing shift, that's all they need.
Yeah, I'm sure there are some people out there that may be true for, but like Lisa said, I think the average person needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And, you know, sleep deprivation certainly can cause people to gain weight and have a difficult time losing weight. So, and there's more daytime accidents and mistakes at work. So sleep is very important.
Do you guys think, too, that we make excuses for that as well? Like people, they don't think they should be. I used to think, like, if I took a nap, that I couldn't stand that feeling like I should be doing something else, so I'm not going to do it. I never wanted to feel like I was lazy or my children to ever see me taking a nap, which they really have never done. I think when both of my boys are in their 20s, but I think if they ever see me in a horizontal position, they're scared that something's wrong other than at night. And I used to think that with my own mom and grandmother, because they would always go, go, go. And we don't allow ourselves, I think, that little bit of time, because do you believe that a nap, like they say, does work, or just plain rest, think and get your mind de-stressed and take some time? Do you believe that helps people during the day?
I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I think 30 minutes, I think, might be the key. They say if you sleep more than 30 minutes, then you get into a REM sleep, and then you may have trouble sleeping at night. But there's nothing wrong with taking a little break for 30 minutes in the afternoon to
I think those
to
siestas
recuperate.
are...
Well, and you could also sit mindfully or
Meditate or something,
or contemplate in contemplative prayer. I mean, the brain at that point is extremely awake and aware, although if you begin to fall asleep, which is something that happens sometimes, that's okay too, because that means the body needed the rest. And just hopefully you're lying down and not seated, and you're in a comfortable position.
Right. And forgive yourself. You don't have to do everything all the time.
I know.
You know?
It's okay to chill.
Exactly.
So what are the best things to do then? Say you do this, and I see we also can do that pros and cons of why I should do this, and see which one. I think pros and con lists work for any decision you want to make that you're struggling with. So those type of things work. As you were saying, write it down, something, keep it, if it's right in front of you and you know what it is, you're more apt to pay attention to it. Also though, what do you do if, and you said earlier, Doctor, don't beat yourself up, which is the worst thing. And that just not only beats us up, but it beats us down. So we feel like what are we doing? And so negative on ourselves because we didn't do it. So once you make these little baby steps and you get, say, a week or even a day, and you've done it, what are good ways to reward yourself? Because everyone says reward yourself. Okay, so what is the best way to do that?
Well,
would you
go
say?
out and treat yourself if you can. Go and get a manicure, or treat yourself to maybe a new pair of sneakers if you've been working out, or you know, go out to a movie, or get some new music for your playlist that you enjoy. Reward yourself with something like that to keep yourself motivated.
And be mindful that the reason you're actually doing that is because you got to one level. So then when you hear, if it is something like a song, like a motivational song, then you know every time you hear that, you know how we are also tuned into songs that remind us. That's another way of then going to the next step, right?
Right.
And what about you, Lisa? Anything else that you recommend on that
Yeah,
level?
actually, I think that if you're talking about diet and exercise, you know, sticking with something that's very positive always, but I think that even if you don't want to spend any money, just jotting down what you're grateful about for that moment. So if you made it through the day, because it is a baby step and one day is one day, and if you make it through it, I think that self-compassion and self-kindness is really important, so you aren't beating yourself up. And so if you're grateful that you made it, jot it down. It doesn't cost anything, and you can just say, okay, day one, fantastic, and move on to the next, really.
Now, do you also too, if and you know that old line, if at first you don't succeed, try again. So that it is keep trying, right? Don't because I was watching the Today Show the other day, and they're saying that someone said, "Oh, I screwed up, so I'm not. I'll wait till Monday," and that's how I think about things. Okay, well, I'm already in the middle of the week. I'll just don't do that. It's like just realize it was a setback or whatever. It was something you didn't want to necessarily do. Don't beat yourself up and start all over. Keep on trying.
Right. I always tell patients, Mark Twain said it was very easy to quit smoking. He did it 100 times.
Oh, I didn't hear that one. I like that one.
And you know, we're all a practice, not a perfect, and we have to recognize that there's no perfection. So if we can get used to the idea that there's no perfection, so you have a slip up, you just get right back and keep going and do it again. Review it, reevaluate it. Maybe it isn't realistic. Take a look, see if you have to reevaluate and make a change. If it is realistic and it is the area that you want to go, say it's day 2. Let's try it again. And just keep moving forward. I mean, it's progress, it's baby steps, it's consistency, and if you enjoy what you're doing and you see some positive results, it is going to become a goal that you can attain.
So then it's all putting baby steps. Hopefully you're learning this little by little, baby steps to be a better you. And we all are going to do that. You know, whatever it is that you want to do better at being you, do it. And do it in small steps. Reward yourself for even the smallest little thing that makes you feel, hey, I've done this and we're getting there. So anything else you might want to tell our viewing audience before we end today, ladies, that I didn't cover?
I think
No,
just-
you're all right?
Good.
I think just stick with it. I think really just, stick with it. Be kind to yourself and stay the course. I think that every day is a new day and every breath is a new breath.
Then it's never too late to start your day over.
Nice way to end it. Thank you very much. So thank you again for listening. It is, again, our 8th installment of Lackawanna County Medical Society Public Health Education Series. And you're wonderful ladies, two ladies who, when I came into Mark, she said, oh, they're so nice. That's what Mark said about both of you. How about that?
Thank you.
See that? Mark, I had to say it. And you're very nice, Dr. Lori Williams, and Lisa Regau, who is a nutritionist and a health educator and an RN too, huh? How about that? So we're well covered here on the medical end. So thank you, ladies.
Thank
This
you.
is very informational. We hope that everybody will take something from this and make those little baby steps to feeling better about who they are.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
So we are going to tell you that the 9th one, whole upcoming topics, we have orthopedics, I love this, bionics and boomers. I'm going to let you try to figure that one out. It won't be too hard. And women's advanced health technologies we'll have coming up soon. So we are moving with these. We'll keep them going. We hope you're interested. They're interesting to you and that you keep watching, because we know our friend Mark puts them on and keeps them going, and we're happy to do it. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Have a great night. I'm Laurie Cadden. Thank you.